Okay, hello, greetings and welcome. Now on yesterday's video we worked on how to mobilize the chi, and that's a 2-hour process of getting to that stage. Now we want to refine the chi. So there's several ways of refining the chi. One is through attentive awareness, and there's 4 stages of how we're going to do this. And the other is through refining the black and white mirror of your soul, which is basically your personality. So the personality, ironically, is less important in the short term, more important in the long term, and the refinement of the energy through attentive awareness is more important in the short term. And because Qigong builds power, the power feeds what is there. If you have weaknesses in your personality, those weaknesses imbalance will get stronger. So if there's negatives, the negatives are going to flourish. If there's positives, the positive will flourish. But we'll concern ourselves with that component later. The first component is attentive awareness. So you've done the mobilizing the chi, you've built the feeling of energy, you've got that feeling there, you can push the chi out, you can pull it back, you've slowed it down, you've thickened it, you've got to the process, to the point where you can feel a substantial amount of energy in your body. We put it into the dantian, we load it into the center of gravity. Now what we want to do is refine our relationship between our mind and that energy. And this is decide success and failure. So the first stage of this is attentive awareness, where you just observe. You bring the hands up, you feel the energy. On your training days, this will take 12 hours. The sunrise comes up, you wake up just before sunrise, you tune your mind, and you feel there's life force. You feel the energy there. Now you whole body pore breathe it, and you feel it in and around you. You go up to the trees, you do a bit of energy exchange, and you're just observing this energy all day, right up till sunset. So you need to get into this critical mass where you're aware that there's a living life force energy around you everywhere, and you just observe the feeling. That's all. You're not trying to identify it, you're not trying to apply your will to it, you're not trying to transform and control it and mobilize it. All you want to do is generate insight into life force. So to generate this insight, we just quietly observe. And as you observe the life force, you come into stronger resonance with it. As you come into stronger resonance, you have more control of it. You feel more power because your mind can tune exactly into what you want to work with. So this attentive awareness is the first step. You just quietly observe. Now inside this first step, you start defining qualities. You feel heat in the energy, go right down the life force, or if you've relaxed it into the chi state, but for the moment, life force would be better. You write down, I feel heat inside the life force, or I feel coolness inside the life force. I feel an electric static, or I feel silky smoothness in it. You go through all the qualities. Is it heavy? Is it light? Is it fast? Is it dense? Is it substantial? Is it insubstantial? Is it vacuous in nature? How fast does it move? Does it sparkle? Write down all these qualities. So what is happening is very important as you write them down. You're not only translating feelings into words, you're making a file in your subconscious mind which says, this is important enough for me to write it down. I want to understand more of this in my life experience. And as you generate a file in your subconscious mind, your subconscious will give you more information about the topic of that file. And you'll gather data and build a bigger and bigger file in your subconscious mind. If you don't write it down, you're not prioritizing, I want more of this experience. So your listening energy will be limited. You have to journal what you feel in order for your listening library of internal knowledge to expand. Journaling is super important. So you do 12-hour sessions of it, sunrise to sunset. Obviously in winter and summer, that's going to be more or less than 12 hours, but it gives you the gist of it. This listening will develop a very, very profound type of insight. You'll start to simply understand and know what life force is, how it functions. You'll get an inner knowing about it. It'll become a natural part of, or an extension of your consciousness, and eventually a part of your consciousness. So this is stage 1. the attentive awareness. Stage 2 is identity. You feel the life force, and as you pay attention to it, your mind comes into such strong resonance with it, you evolve into, I am life force, I am my meditation object, I am this thing I am paying attention to. So we go from the first base of power, the observation state, into the second base of power, the identity, the water element. You attach to it and you become life force. When you become life force, you get a different perspective. When you're watching something, you have from outside perspective. When you are something, you have inside perspective. So it's like a first, second person perspective taking place here. You get an unconscious knowing how to control the energy when you identify with it. So you spend these 12-hour sessions, sunrise to sunset, identifying, I am life force. And I am this field of life force in the forest. And you allow your mind to occupy more space of life force to fill the park or the forest that you're in, and you take on the identity. This does have a side effect of being the protector of the forest, the keeper of the forest, because you start to feel the trees around you and identify with them. But for the moment, I really just want you to, I am living energy. I am the living mind of creation that animates all life. And you take on the identity. This will deepen your insight and your understanding into what life force is, and you journal it. You write it all down. You write down all this information. This information might be highly complex, or it might be very, very simple. This is very often a reflection of your education, your IQ, your EQ, your emotional intelligence, your academic intelligence, the knowledge base that you have, because that information will filter through your consciousness into your pen in a different way. So everybody will write down something different. They'll have different insights through that identity. Now you've gone through this qualitative phase of being able to observe to the point of identifying I am the object of observation. And then we go to the third stage. There's a natural movement of the energy with your mind. So if you breathe in, you feel the life force coming in, you're identified with it, more life force comes in. It follows your willpower. It follows the power of your mind, the fire pillar. So this willpower stage, it's natural, it's not fabricated, it's not eyes of a hawk, it's not, oh, okay, I'm going to amp it up. You can do that later, but not in the beginning, because you'll break your qualitative connection through the discernment and identity. You can only influence something that you can discern and identify with to influence its movement. You influence it from the frequency of its own identity. So this identifying and I am this flows into the will of moving that energy in and out of your body, moving in and out of trees. And this is where you truly learn to mobilize the chi, because your mind is in perfect resonance with chi, therefore it can influence it. So this third stage, all the stages are an overflow from one stage to the next. You can train all four stages as a beginner in the same training session, but they won't be fully refined until you let the discernment build until it starts to identify, the identity build until by itself it starts to will, and then from will we go to the fourth stage, which is transformation, where you feel this energy and you can transform the energy from one state into another. So with life force, in mobilizing the chi, we released time, we slowed it down. So we took this energy from a vital state, we relaxed and released time within it, and we moved it into an astral chi state. It thickened and slowed down. And that's why the Tai Chi form is done so slowly, because you're identifying with the chi, slowing it down with your will, and moving into an astral state from a vital state. Okay, so this transformation can also be used for changing your personality. You feel, oh, I'm a fiery person, I have fiery emotions. The bottom of the fire pillar is irritability, need to control, anger, hyperactivity within the fire, explosiveness, and the top is a type of controlled, one-pointed willpower. So you relax that energy, release time, release space, you bring it into the mind quality, you equalize it with pure omnipotent will, and you can transform that energy up. So transformation can be as simple as I feel tension, I release the tension, the energy changes state through relaxation and moves into a wave from being stiffness in my shoulder. It moves into a loose, relaxed wave that's passing out and through my body. So your ability to move energy with your will, but to change and transform the energy in the fourth state, the level of transformation, in the four bases of power in Buddhism, we call this persistence. You persist in what you're doing, so the energy transforms from one jhanic level to the next. So your state of awareness rises and elevates. So these four stages of simply discerning, attentive awareness, 12-hour cycles, identity, 12-hour cycles, applying the will to move the energy, 12-hour cycles, and then transformation, 12-hour cycles. You need to do it for 12 hours so you can build critical mass inside your identity, so it becomes a natural part of your mind's ability to move energy, to be able to heal, to be able to transform, to be able to teach, to be able to do whatever function it is. You may be a chef and you want to charge energy into the food you cook and enliven it with love. You have to have access to this life force field, put information into it, will it into the food, transform and absorb it in, and go through these stages to mobilize the chi in a loving way to make wonderful food for people. So this basic skill, it's not really about Tai Chi. I use Tai Chi as a vehicle to teach people the underlying metaphysical principles, but it's not Tai Chi. It's a life skill that you use in every aspect of your life. And as you get to understand that life force animates life, everything you do in this living mind, in this living ego, in this living body will utilize these skills. So this is a very, very basic fundamental principle in metaphysics that gives you tools for living and having a higher quality life. Okay, so I hope this helps with refining your ability to mobilize chi, refining your ability to understand what chi is. So this phase takes about 1 month. And of course, not many people have time, 12 hours a day for a month. Well, with the coronavirus situation, you might have time. But if a person does a 1-month retreat, at the end of 1 month, they really understand life force, they really understand chi, they really understand energy, they do sunrise to sunset, and they're fully focused and tuned into that energy. Take good notes, do high quality journaling, and you get high quality insight that starts to arise as a natural part of your consciousness. Okay, thank you for your time, and stay happy.